The biggest regret I see from people who retire early is what I call the appetizer retirement. I'm going to explain what that means, and you're going to have total clarity by the end of this video. This is going to be a shorter video. I do some really long case studies of 20 minutes going into depth on Roth conversions and estate planning and insurance. Today is just short and sweet. What the heck is appetizer planning? So appetizer retirement or appetizer planning is when you retire and you feel like you're in a good spot, but you're hesitating a little bit when it comes to buying that calamari as an appetizer. Or you're thinking, do I really need a salad? I can make it at home. It's way cheaper. And I feel like maybe I can make it even better. Well, if you can make it better, that's different. But I see a lot of people who retire, and the bigger example, instead of appetizers, is I'll replace that with travel. What if now that you're retired, you can go travel and spend all the time you want? And I have a lot of clients that enjoy going to national parks during the week because it's way less busy, and they couldn't have otherwise have done that during their traditional corporate working years, if you will. So now that they retire, they're traveling, and then they realize they love it and they want to travel more, but that wasn't in the budget. So now they're thinking, oh, am I going to have to go back to work? And my retirement's okay, but it's really not the retirement I dreamed of. I don't want you to retire and look back and go, why didn't I work one more year? If that could have led me to live the dream retirement. I also don't want you to be 75 or 80 mad at me with 5-10 million bucks going, hey, that wasn't my goal. I don't need this amount of money. So how do you think about the sweet spot? How do you think about regrets? I'm going to show you with a real case study today. Hopefully this alleviates a lot of stress you're having. My name is Ari. I'm a certified financial planner, and I'm the host of the Early Retirement Podcast. Now check this out. I have a few regrets that I want to show you guys so that you can get a sense as to how I explain this if I'm talking to clients. So you can see here, this is a comment on a recent video where I talked about RVs. They said retirees most commonly regret buying luxury items like boats and RVs. Yeah, there are some people, but to be honest, I don't see that a lot. I don't see a lot of people who go, I'm so upset I bought the RV and traveled, and I rarely see, well, I wish I bought a smaller RV. I do have people who go, I wish I bought a better one if I was in a fine spot to do so, and I'll show you how to actually plan for that in just a second. Another regret that I'll see here, this is on the financial side. This is what I don't want you to worry about nearly as much, and I view part of my job is to advise you guys on things to consider and tell you a bunch of things that just you should not worry about. This is one, and this is a video I put out, why international companies are integral to your portfolio. And the summary is you want to diversify. If all your money is in the S&P 500 and the S&P 500 does not do well, you don't have a lot of wiggle room, meaning you're going to have to go sell something at a loss to create income. So ideally, you have another asset class like real estate or international companies or small companies or value or dividend that's really operating differently. We call that uncorrelated. So advisors get to feel smart so that you can actually create more income without selling at a loss. So here's someone that says, I chose for the last 25 years to invest in international and small companies. I want to minimize regret. Diversification is safer. Yes, he's correct here, but that is not what I'm talking about. What I'm talking about in terms of regret is something like this. So I put out a video a few months ago, 3 surprising statistics that will make you want to retire early. Thank you. Good video. I retired last April from a job that I loved because I wasn't having fun anymore. I have not regretted that decision. Even when friends were like, what are you going to do for medical insurance? In that panic, high-pitched voice, my response was, I'll figure it out, and I did. My quality of life is so much better. So why am I bringing up that example? The reason I'm bringing that example, you'll always find a reason to not retire. It's easier. People don't like change. I joke that I'm the meanest advisor on YouTube. I promise I'm not mean. I'm very transparent because you have worked too hard to not optimize all of this. So if right now you're going, yeah, I've kind of been pushing it back and I said I was going to work one more year and I told my spouse that, but I took another project and this is really the last one, then they get offered a bonus. Then you get what's called the golden handcuffs, where they go, oh, John, you're just so valuable. I mean, would you please stay on? We'll pay you $350,000 a year. And you're like, really? I was making $200 before. And they're like, yeah, but now we see the real value in you, John. You're a superstar. And then you'll think back and go, when I was 25, do you know what I would have done for $350,000? You'll justify it. Nothing wrong with that. Unless you're already on track for your goals, in which case You are literally giving up time, which is the only non-renewable currency. So look at this just to give you a sense. This is someone that we work with, just changing their names for security reasons. They're 62 and 54. They currently have $1.9 million invested, no children. They own their home worth $980,000. Now for them, they value simplicity and they want to be able to spend more. So in their current plan, as I posted, I think a few days ago, we talked about downsizing. And in their plan, they wanted to plan on downsizing. Now, if they were to downsize, just as an example, you can see it would add about $422,000 more dollars. They sell a home worth $980,000. They buy a condo with $680,000. So they're taking that difference and they're investing it for more growth. Here's what I want you to think about in terms of regret. I want you to think about how much money would be too much to die with. Not a fun thought, but if I were to say, you're passing away tomorrow, how much money is too much? Some of you would say zero, like $1. That's too much. I've worked hard. I want to spend it all. Now, the reality is you can't time it exactly, and you don't want to try to do that. But for a lot of you, you're like, honestly, I want to give $1 million to each child. And for some of you, you go, honestly, I just want them to get my home, and that's enough. I want to spend what I work so hard for. They have plenty of time, which you'd be correct on. Here's my point. I want you to dream big. Now, sometimes that comes with sobering news, like a bad MRI. But an example, and I only say MRI because I'm a soccer player, and when I get an MRI that says bad news, I'm not sad. In the moment, I'm like, this sucks. But then I quickly go, oh, well, now I see the reality of my situation. So here's a couple that wants to spend $6,000 a month. Okay, that's $72,000 a year. They've got some health issues. They want to plan on $127,000 a year for long-term care, and the spouse wants to plan on $75,000. They want to spend $10,000 on vacation. So let's say 10 plus 72, we're just going to call it $82,000 a year. That's what they want, okay? Now, that's assuming, they stop working. They could stop working right now, and this is what they could do. And you could see they're in a good spot. But what if they go, you know what, we want to help with that niece with a wedding. That's going to be $40,000. And that RV, we want to buy an RV, a bougie one, $110,000. Home remodel, no need, we're going to downsize. These were their salaries before, $114,000, side hustle, they made some good money. Part-time income, pretend there's none. Inheritance, you can go add it in. So let's just pretend we add in that RV and that wedding, just hypothetical. How much money would be left if we say, yes, go factor that into the plan? You could see there's $200,000 fewer dollars. Now, let's also pretend they don't downsize until 2040, hypothetical. There's going to be even fewer dollars. So now you can see they will be okay. There's $585,000 at the end. But they might determine that personally they want to have more. So they can decide we're going to work until 65. And they can see in real time what's the impact of that. Okay, well, if they work until 65, Frank, just as an example, so Frank works 3 more years, there'd be $3 million at the end. Frank doesn't want to die with $3 million. Most of you don't want to. But pretend you did for a second, and you wanted to spend $10,000 a month. You could ask yourself, what trade-off is more valuable to me? Because I just showed Frank working 3 more years, and I just increased his spending by $48,000 a year. Now, he might go, that's awesome. He might go, no, I'd rather retire earlier. It's not a right or wrong, but this is a helpful tool that you can actually go play around with. It's in the description of this video. So you can go look, use what's called the Early Retirement Academy, play around, see what's going to minimize your regret, and go dream and literally go see. You can go into the profile section here, you go to the goals and go add in a bunch of stuff. Add in education for kids and cars and vacations and weddings and all this stuff. This is going to allow you to plan your retirement well. Now, this is a really good tool to get a gut check. I call it a temperature check. I have all my phrases so you guys can make fun of me. I have my appetizer planning and my travel examples and all this stuff, because I need this to hit home with people. And if I can't think of a fun or clever way to do it, then people go, oh, what is this, another TED Talk? So that's it for this episode. Quick, short, and sweet. If you want to work with Root, you can go to our website, Root Financial, and in the upper right, click this button, see if you're a fit, and we'll talk to you then.